I call this meeting to order at 4:11 p.m. on June 4th, 2024. Please keep in mind this meeting may be video or audio recorded. May every member of the committee please state their name for the record.
Adriana Silva.
Matthew Bravo.
Jackson Ranson.
Joshua Yachik.
Arshan Falasiri.
Aaron Rubai as chair and Julia Cipher as clerk. All right, with 6 members present, quorum has been established. Can you do the timers today?
Sure.
Sweet. All right, we are now in line for the consideration of SSB 2024-1362, which is the FIN Act. No applicants today. All right. Senator Gibbons, you have 5 minutes of presentation whenever you're ready.
So this is the FIN Act, just to basically allow when absentee ballots come in, that the person gets notified that their ballot was received. Mainly for people who do mail-in ballots. However, I do need to talk to the supervisor of elections, so I do ask that you table this bill for now, as I need to talk to them more. And I waive the rest of my time.
All right. Now we have 5 minutes for Q&A. Just really quickly, I'm going to fix the format really quick. Do you know how many absentee ballots on average there is per election received?
It ranges.
Okay.
It can be, so last election there were 200, I believe. I have never seen it go over 300. Usually it's less than 200.
Okay.
It's mainly graduate students who use it, most undergrads, and it's mainly those in professional schools or graduate schools. Undergrads very rarely, if ever, use it. Usually the number is close to 50 or less.
Got it. Are there any more questions?
Is there any current system for notifying people, or is this the only?
There is no system. That's actually why I started to write up this bill. However, again, I need to talk to supervisor of elections because going through 300, mail-in ballots can be a hassle. I did try to make it so more than just one person can deal with it through various designees. But again, that's why I need to talk to supervisor of elections and probably IT to make sure that there is a way to easily make this easier on them.
Okay, that makes sense.
Any more questions? Seeing none, now we're in line for 5 minutes of debate. All right, so, here's my opinion. There has to be some sort of system to notify people that it's been received. Without any software in place for these people to use, it seems highly unlikely that this will be feasible right now, especially if there are a few hundred absentee ballots. This is usually the most busy time for both the Supreme Court and the SOE. So I think once we figure out if there's a way we can do this, some sort of automated process, who knows that this could be feasible, but as for right now, in my opinion, there just isn't a way to do this without overburdening I guess it's not even the Elections Commission, it's just SOE, Chief Justice.
I completely agree. When I read it, I love the intent. I think we definitely need a system to notify people. I need a table to talk to more people. I think that's great.
Any more debate? Seeing none, 2 minutes of final privilege.
I waive.
All right, we're now in line for any motions at this time. Do I hear any motions?
I move to table SSB 2024-1362 by unanimous consent.
There's been a motion to table SSB 2024-1362 by unanimous consent. Are there any objections? Seeing none, that motion passes. We are now in line for SSB 2024-1363. Senator Gibbons, 5 minutes whenever you're ready.
Alright, so again, absentee ballots, they're my passion. So this one is basically, the original intent was to establish 2 sort of things. One was to set a deadline in which there has to be applications available for absentee ballots, as well as allowing a basically PDF version to allow for students to print them off should they want to. However, I do agree that maybe simplifying this to just establishing a deadline would be nice, because currently there is none. Basically, theoretically, you could have absentee ballots. I mean, requests, I don't think actually has a deadline. Just that basically, when an absentee ballot does get requested, it needs to be sent to the person at least 5 days. But that's what this bill is for. And I wait for the rest of my time.
All right, we're now in line for 5 minutes of Q&A. Are there any questions?
Have you already talked to the supervisor of elections about this?
So they already do this.
Okay.
This is so in years past. The only new thing that's in this bill would be codifying, 1, a date that they have to have this up, and 2, having a PDF version. That's the only new things. In semesters past and elections past, you could request from the SOE a PDF version of it. This just makes it simpler, just makes it so there's an actual ballot up there, or the application for the ballot up there already. But I think the deadline is the more important part.
Okay, it's like a logistical change. Also.
Yeah, exactly. Because in the supervisor of election already does these things. We're not changing any new systems. It's just codifying it.
Cool.
Oh, Adobe just had an aneurysm on my computer. Okay. Any more questions? Seeing none, we're now in line for 5 minutes of debate. Is there any debate? All right, well then I'll debate. Okay, so for this bill, there's this part of it about printing online. These applications are available in printed format in the Rights Union, and they're also available as an online application. So including them to be printed online doesn't make any sense, in my opinion, because there's already an online application. So if you have access to a computer to print it, you have access to a computer to just submit it from your computer. So I'm not sure really what the printing online part does. As for the timeline, so I think we should amend that part. Just be available, we could say online and in person at the Rights Union. I guess that's what they currently do. And we need to have a timeline. So currently, you have to request the absentee ballot by the second Wednesday immediately preceding the election. Okay. So that's 2 weeks before the second day of the election, I think. That's what that means.
Yes.
Usually. Yeah, I think.
It's basically right in the middle of.
Okay. I'm gonna lay the committee at rest, so you can pause that. Just to ask you a few questions really quickly. So this deals with just the timeline to have the application out.
Yeah.
Is there a timeline that the absentee ballots have to be delivered by?
No.
Okay.
No. So basically there is so for delivered, like from voter to SOE, or delivered meaning from SOE to voter. Which part do you mean?
Supervisor. SOE to voter.
SOE to voter has to be at least, I believe it is 5 days before
Okay.
the
It's
election.
actually no later than 5 business days.
Okay.
Yeah, no later
Okay.
than business day. Which basically means they have to. Election is usually on
Tuesday, Wednesday.
Tuesday, Wednesday. So 5 business days is
Tuesday.
It's like, yeah.
Okay. Okay, so this.
And so that's the only.
Is there a reason you made this? Why don't we just keep it at 2 weeks for the availability of the?
Sure.
I think
thought
that's
2
yeah. I didn't realize it
So-
said
so-
2 weeks there.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I think we're just codifying that it has to be online. That's fine. Yeah.
My question, I should have said this during Q&A. The wording for, available for paper application, available for printing Like, I think is what you were saying. Is like the wording is confusing.
It-
Do you mean like a PDF?
Yeah, basically.
Okay.
So my original thought, and to answer your question of how this has been used, organizations such as GAU have had at their meetings paper ballots or paper application for ballots just available so people can come in real quick, sign one,
Like
and
absentees are like just available for people.
applications for ballots.
Oh,
So
okay.
this is all dealing with application for ballots. It doesn't deal with absentee ballots at all. And basically, organizations like GAU have had like a stack of, applications for absentee ballots available at a meeting. And so this was to allow, instead of having to go to the rights, request that the supervisor election print out 500 copies, why not just have a PDF version online? GAU or whatever organization can print that off and allow for it. The way I would kind of view it is, what if a organization wanted to do like a voting drive almost? This would allow for easier access and not put the burden on the supervisor election, other than just having the PDF online.
So you're asking for like a printable file.
Yeah, so that was the original intent. I'm also amendable to basically just having this be the online application as well as paper applications have to be available in the rights at least 2 weeks prior to when the absentee ballot is due. I'd also be amendable to a little bit longer, if that's possible.
And then, Aaron, what were you saying about you feel like it's redundant just to add to the both?
The printing online version.
Yeah.
So, okay, and this is a deeply held belief that came up in the spring, but not all of you were there for that. When it comes to organizational voting, I think it's bad. I think it encourages coercion. So in general, I feel as if because all UF students have access to computer labs and computers, and it would be available in person at the rights as well, that we, rather than encouraging it to be printed out, so basically you give up the secrecy of your ballot if it's an absentee ballot. You waive your right to privacy. So in my opinion, that's a bad idea to have a precedent set for. So instead of that, having it available online, we have a guarantee that all students can use some sort of electronic device because we provide them as a university. So you could just fill it out online. That way, at least you have some semblance of privacy when it comes to your ballot. And also if it's here in person, like if people do want to grab them, they can. It's not a huge inconvenience, and I think it's not a bad inconvenience to have if it protects the secrecy of the ballot.
I will say though, with absentee ballots, it does get sent to the person's house. Just to, I wouldn't have thought of this being a privacy issue.
Yeah, this is less. It's less about that than it was last session. This is more that just it's available online.
Yeah.
So I think it's redundant to have the form online as well.
Okay. Are we at rest?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, feel free to.
Honestly, I don't see the. Are we debating? Can I debate right now? Is that
Yeah.
cool?
I mean, I can move us into debate if we're going to debate.
Sure.
Sure.
But that means I can't talk. Just to let you
That
know.
does mean he can't talk.
Does it matter? I mean,
No,
it's
it-
not,
it-
it's not. I'm saying, I'm saying it's okay for rest. Like, can we just talk over? No.
Yeah,
no,
yeah,
You can talk, but as soon as it goes like further into debate, I don't want the precedent to be like this period is usually to talk about things and learn if we don't have. It's not extending debate or extending Q&A, but it kind of is.
Yeah.
I don't like making it so that in debate, like if we're actually debating it right now, we shouldn't be at rest.
Okay. I understand.
But we can just talk. So
I am down to debate if you want to come back to debate.
okay. I wake this committee up.
I'm gonna use
I'm
it.
going to put Senator Revive policy
Yeah.
committee back to order.
Okay. Also, may everyone in the room please state their name for the record, just so we have that on there.
Finley Gibbons.
Oh, Adriana.
Wait, you guys are already good. The committee's good.
Oh,
Members, yeah.
Austin Britton.
what should I spell your last name?
Britton, Britton.
Keisha Cohn. Samantha Cameron. Julia Cipher, and I also recorded Victoria Taylor.
Alrighty. Okay. We're now in line for 5 minutes of debate. I think we already used Q&A. So, yeah. All right, we're still actually in debate. I think we had used up a little bit of time, which is fine.
I believe we were in Q&A, actually.
I think we started debate.
I think we started debate. We started debate.
Okay, gotcha.
It's fine. I'll just say we have 2 minutes.
Okay.
Okay, go for it.
Okay, I don't know what you mean about redundancy. I can see how that could be like an issue, but honestly, I don't see redundancy being a problem for this type of thing. For what he's saying, for the intent of letting organizations kind of print it out, I think that's chill. Like having a PDF version that just makes it more accessible is, I think, a good thing. I understand the concern of redundancy, but I don't see that as a reason to not pass it. You know.
Okay, I'm also going to point out that I think this last line, they have the deadline up above here as requesting it by the second Wednesday. I think we should maintain something around that instead of 1 week prior to the start of election season. That's 5 weeks out. That's too long. We can make it the second Tuesday, I guess.
Changing the date is fine.
Yeah, that's the in this red part though. That would be instead of at least 1 week prior, it would be by just say the third Wednesday.
No, I'm amenable to changing the date.
Yeah. I think it should be just so I have that like said. I think the third Wednesday. That means there's a week for them to request it online,
Sure.
and or can you do that for the entire election already? I don't know what the.
Current.
So having
You
the
can-
third Wednesday, is it 1 week or is it more?
So that would allow you to have 1 week to submit the application, and then they would have a week and a half ish to send you the absentee ballot.
Okay.
And then 5 days to submit it through mail. That would be the event. That would be the timeline. I don't know if they're already available.
That is time.
Cool. 2 minutes of final privilege.
Yeah, so generally, and just to, answer some questions or brought up in the debate, applications are usually available throughout the election season. It usually starts at least the day of campaign. That's why I put at least 1 week prior to the start of campaign election season. I'd be amenable to just codifying it as the start of election season because that's kind of how it already is, just to make sure that these things are available once people are actually interacting with the campaign. Again, I'm perfectly amenable to any sort of changes of dates or phrasing. This one was a little hard to phrase.
Yeah.
And I wasted the rest of my time.
All right. We're now in line for any motions at this time. Are there any motions? Do I hear a motion to strike the words for printing
So
Yes.
moved.
by unanimous consent? Are there any objections? Seeing none, the motion passes. All right. Anyone want to do the timeline?
Yeah. I
Okay.
move to strike 1 week prior, change it to second. Do we say second Tuesday?
Do first, do third Wednesday.
Okay, I struck.
That'll give you, huh?
That'd be after the.
No,
Let's do-
because it's immediately preceding. So first, second, third Wednesday. So like this is the eventual election. The second Wednesday preceding
Oh.
is to. This would give it a week
Mhm.
for people to apply for an absentee ballot. I'm pretty confident. I think you know about this.
I guess.
All right. Do I hear a motion to amend SSB 2024-1363 so that the words "at least 1 week prior to the start of election season" is changed to "by the third Wednesday immediately preceding the election by 5 p.m." by unanimous consent? So moved. All right. Are there any objections? Seeing none, that motion passes, and now I'm going to amend this. Okay. Online by. All right. Are there any other motions at this time? Yeah.
I moved to pass SSB 2024-1363. Or did you want to amend it again?
Okay. Sorry. I didn't read through this one part of it. I lay the committee at rest. They'll ensure that a paper application shall be available online. So we would have to change that as well. It would be
Application.
ensure that a paper application in the rights and an online application shall be available by. So
Do we still want to make it so it's a principal file, or do we not want to?
we just struck that.
Okay. So just strike paper.
So no, we would make it rights. Okay. So I hear a motion to amend SSB 2024-1363 so that it reads: the supervisor of elections shall ensure that a paper application, that an online application for an absentee ballot, comma, and a paper application shall be available in the rights by the third Wednesday. Yeah, by unanimous consent.
Yes.
Are there any objections? I think that's what we want us to do. Okay. Seeing none, that motion passes. All right. This is fun. Okay. Shall ensure that. Okay, I think the supervisor of elections shall ensure that a paper application is available in the rights union, comma, and an online application is available by the third Wednesday. Okay, cool. Are there any motions at this time?
I move to pass SSB 2024-1363.
So a motion to pass SSB 2024-1363 by unanimous consent. Are there any objections? Seeing none, the motion passes. We're now in line for the consideration of SSB 2024-1364. All right. There has been an amendment submitted to this resolution.
No, it's a good one.
Oh God, it's such a crazy reaction.
Amendments always scary.
Friendly fire.
Can you ask the people in this room who did not state their name before to state their name now?
I was fine.
All right.
Hunter Lawson as well.
Alrighty, let me just copy. I'm just going to switch this out for the current version
Good idea.
because that way everyone can see it, I think. All right. Shoot, how do I?
Can you move to adopt amendment already?
Yeah, I'm just going to.
Awesome.
All right. Technically, we have to go into a presentation on the amendment. There is no established timeline, so you want to present for 2 minutes?
Sounds great. Am I presenting the amendment?
Yes.
So the amendment basically, I included a lot of sources to back up the knowledge that I have acquired over years of being the son of someone who works in environmental law, environmental agencies, environmental PR, etc. And as well as just being very obsessed with nightlife, stars, etc. for like 15 years. So this time we got sources with it.
Yes. All right. Any questions? Any debate? Final privilege?
Thanks, Dave.
Any motions at this time? This is on the amendment, by the way. I will
Okay.
add that.
I move to pass the amendment to SSB 2024-1364. With by unanimous consent.
Are there any objections? Seeing none, that motion passes.
That's it.
All right. We have sources now, everyone.
Yay.
5 minutes whenever you're ready, Senator Monson.
Okay, so the essence of this bill actually started with me very spontaneously always going to either Queensbury or very other random locations with little to no light pollution, just so I could see stars. Because, why not? It's kind of awesome. And I've also realized Gainesville is pretty bad about our light pollution, especially in the metropolitan area. Like if you go from downtown to even close to campus, the amount of stars you see and just the aspect of the sky in general is very much different than somewhere, for example, Haynes Prairie, or somewhere on the deep southwest side of Gainesville where it's significantly darker. That being said, in this bill I've included actually the many detrimental effects that light pollution has on the environment, people, because I don't know if you know, but you could get cancer from excessive light pollution. It's pretty bad.
What?
Yeah. Cancer how?
Wait, what are you talking about?
You can literally acquire forms of cancer from light pollution. Yes.
That's crazy.
Yes, you can. Look.
It's non-ionizing.
Dude, trust.
All right. I'll believe you.
This time I have sources. I got This time I got sources. How much time do I have?
What light? What lights do people? Okay, continue. Go for it. That's insanity.
Wow.
All
How much
right.
time do I have left?
You have like 3.5 minutes.
I'll say less. I'm not gonna take that long anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is something that like I guess this bill and the next bill are just regarding sustainability and I guess quality of life in Gainesville, and I feel like that's very important, especially if you want to go see some stars. That being said, if you want to go stargaze some random night, hit me up. Like I likely will say yes, and I know a lot of other places that I low-key gatekeep, so I reserve the rest of my time. I wait the rest of my time.
All right. We're now on for 5 minutes of question and answer. Are there any questions?
Okay, so I see you need, you're requesting an audit from the city of Gainesville
Yes.
into light pollution. I love the idea. I love SARS. What are you trying to do with the audit? Like, what's your end goal?
It's mainly evaluating the different like levels of light pollution within the city, because there's obviously very different levels, and with the audit, it's mainly just either if it's homes causing it, vehicle emissions, light. There's a lot of stuff that goes in light pollution. I don't know if y'all do this. That's why I include the sources this time. The audit is about just mainly gathering data within the city of Gainesville, because we just don't have a lot of data about it, and it's not requesting. It's just like advocating for it.
So like, what are you trying to do with that audit? Like, is it?
Okay, sorry, I misunderstood.
No, you're good.
Basically, off of that, you would then have policies that you can implement, whether that's privatized home, light levels, or just stuff like that. I think with the time that I like invested into like researching this, it's mainly homes and privatized homes and big corporations, big business that have this light pollution issue. But it's mainly just to see like in actuality, is that the issue? And following up, City of Gainesville, City Commission, City Boards, maybe establishing a whole commission about that in the City of Gainesville, because it becomes a big enough issue down the line, causing health detriments. I feel like it can be resolved, especially if we just get data.
In the amendment, was there any changing to like the wording or anything of the bill?
Nothing. It was literally just adding numbers and sources.
Okay.
Have you spoken to anybody currently in regards to people who work in the city about their plans for reduction of light pollution or anything like that?
I've definitely had the opportunity to talk a little bit about just environmental sustainability, and I talked about how light pollution is an issue and what they want to do with it, because I do include in this that there is like a plan like within Gainesville to have certain carbon emission levels, and that is definitely like I guess sidetracked factor of it, but I do want to follow more so. This was kind of like just the start like of pursuing this. What's the stank face?
I'm reading an NIH article right now.
About cancer.
Yeah. How much time do we have left?
We have like 2.5 minutes.
Okay, I'm gonna keep reading this really quick because it's interesting.
So, if you had to choose, like, what are you trying to limit light exposure on? Is it like the lights at Midtown? Like, what is your greatest like thing you want to tackle?
Of course, it's mainly obviously with the audit. I would see like what's the most hazardous and like what's the most detrimental to the community. I do always obviously value safety more than anything. So if there's too little lights around the heart of campus where things are heavily populated, safety could be a factor. That's definitely a point of concern. But I wouldn't advocate for lighting to be like so little that like that'd be a concern by any means. The actual placement, I think the heart of Gainesville at the end of the day will always be very strict with light. We just need light to operate. It's the busy part of campus. Like there's gonna be lights whether that's businesses, apartments, etc. So honestly, it's upon more data, I'd like to make more inferences, but at the time being, I think more so around ecological preserves, that type of thing.
Just one last thing. You mentioned you're targeting at the University of Florida major stadium lights as a source of light spill and light pollution. Would you mind classifying a couple areas where you think major stadium lights would be a problem?
Okay, so I don't know if y'all have walked around games or the UF at night, which I do very often. The stadium board, the big board, is usually on the whole night, which, in my opinion, is a little excessive. Like we don't need our big jumbotron on both sides to be operating, saying "Go Gators." Like I feel like that just is very detrimental to the atmosphere and just the quality of the night sky. And also, we have plenty of lampposts around. Like, it's not. I don't think that the dimming of them would be a concern of safety. Yeah.
Do you have a comment on Vivo?
We have about 40 seconds.
Heavily questions.
Do you see, like, is this like, do you see like more action after this? Is this like a first
course.
step for, okay, cool.
This is definitely the initial step. I would
Yeah.
like to work with the city as well as sustainability commissions here at UF as well, more so about this too.
Okay, thank you.
Are there any more questions? Nope. All right, we're now in line for 5 minutes of debate.
I really like this, honestly. I think you could go, this is a sort of something that you could go pretty far for. I unfortunately don't think that you will be able to see the stars because this is a college campus, this is a big metropolitan area with over 100,000 people in it. We do need light, but if we could conserve some light and conserve some energy, I think that could be a very big help to the environment. So I would like to see this passed and maybe start something.
I also enjoy this bill. I don't see why we would not pass it. I think it's a good sentiment. I like the conservation. I think it has good ideas. Of course, there may be like logistical concerns moving forward for what exactly is going to be dimmed, but this is not condemning anything right now. This is just making a sentiment, and I agree with it.
I agree. I like this bill. My only concern is that if it's taken to a point, even though you talked about this, or it's taken to a point where like lights are reduced and it's like affects safety, it's my only worry, especially like as a woman that I've walked around campus before at night, or I've had to be in the city, another parts of the city, walking home at night. But if that's not the intention, which you did clarify, then I think this is a good bill overall, especially learning from it. Yeah.
No, I completely agree. I think this campus does a really good job of feeling safe.
Yeah.
Like when I will be in downtown once I get to campus. I think okay, we're good. So I like the air of safety lighting brings, and but I don't think we're trying to change that with this bill. I think this is a bill that is trying to do good and will work with whatever moves forward. So I want to pass this.
I will say that I really appreciate the bill, but the one concern I have is of some of the names in the provisos section, just in terms of implication reasons. That's just sort of my problem with it. But overall, I do like the sentiment of the bill when it includes.
I really like the bill. I like the sentiment. I like the idea of conservation. I'm not really educated, so I'll look at your resources later. But I come from a rural area. I don't really see the stars there, so I don't know how much of an impact it'll have, but I like the idea.
Yeah,
Go for it.
I was just gonna say, just going off, yeah, the only thing which, like, I see you do have in one of your clauses, like, the fact that as long as it doesn't, like, interfere with any safety, I think, like, the way it is right now, it's good to pass, but, like, if it were to move forward anymore, like, we would need more specifics, more data about the safety, about, like, what exact measures it would take, because, like, in the same way, it's like whenever I like purposely, I will go walk an extra like 10 to 15 minutes if it means I'm walking on campus as opposed to like walking on the street. Yeah.
All right. Okay, I'm going to give a little bit of debate. First of all, I love the irony because we have passed several resolutions on increased lighting off campus, like quite a few. But your sources are great. I just read about this. Apparently, I didn't know this. So it's not actually a causation effect. It's non-ionizing light. So incandescent and LED lights don't cause cancer, but they inhibit the production of melatonin, which has been correlated strongly with breast cancer and lung cancer. So having lights on at night does, in fact, cause cancer. It doesn't cause cancer. It's correlated with higher rates of cancer in developed countries. That is cool. I didn't know that before. So I like the sources and stuff. Also, I want to remind the committee really quickly. So we're kind of delving into territory that's not supposed to be what we do in Judish. When we're talking about like whether this is actually like a good resolution to pass or not, we're kind of going a little bit too far into that. We have to look purely at, is the data correct? Is there a logical flow in the resolution? Does the format make sense? Is everything phrased correctly? Is it clear and concise what this is advocating for? So I will say these are all great things to discuss. I think that was a really fun discussion. But in the future, we really need to watch ourselves on that because that is not in line with any of the 5 criteria. So yeah, I just wanted to point that out. But I think this is a great resolution. Again, I have said this before and I'll say it again. The provisos are always too many people. But it's understandable. We just don't want to disenfranchise ourselves by sending it to sending it like every single bill that I received today, I think, excluding yours, had Ben Sass in the title line. Understandable. He doesn't need to receive every single thing we pass in Senate. That's going to disenfranchise ourselves and make him put our stuff in a bin on his Gmail. So overall, we need to be selective about when we include names on provisos. So I advocate that someone makes a motion to strike Ben Sass and Provost Scott Engel from this. The other names make complete sense, but those two are just a little bit excessive.
Are we out of debate now?
Mm-hmm.
We have 10 seconds left on debate. Are we out?
Is there any debate left? Seeing none, we're online for 2 minutes of final privilege.
I appreciate a lot of, I guess, follow-up questions, because this definitely gives me more so like an avenue of like, where to take it from. Just to clarify, I'm not advocating for the abolishment of light. I need that for the record, because it's more so just in areas that don't need to be shining bright every single second. I am very pro-safety. I personally try to walk around the most bright parts too. And campus, I do not plan on abolishing lights on campus either. This is something that I just wanted to raise concern about, just the effects of what light pollution can do in the long term. And I feel free, by the way, to change causation to correlation in that one phrase about regarding cancer, cells, and such. But yeah, I appreciate all of you are so interested in it, because this is something I literally just thought about, and I don't expect to see stars on campus. I should clarify that as well. It's more so just like making sure that we're living in a healthy environment while also preserving safety. So, thank you for waiting the rest of my time.
All right. Now, Len, for any motions this time, are there any motions?
I move to strike University of Florida President Ben Sass and University of Florida Provost J. Scott Engel from the proviso of SSB 2024-1364 by unanimous consent.
All right. Are there any objections? Seeing none, that motion passes.
I move to pass SSB 2024-1364 by unanimous consent.
All right, there's been a motion to pass SSB 2024-1364 by unanimous consent. Are there any objections?
Aren't we amending causation or correlation?
It says linked to, so it's actually correct.
Okay.
So I didn't have
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Are there any objections? Seeing none, that motion passes. We are now in line for SSB 2024-1365. Senator Monson, you have 5 minutes. Whenever.
We have an amendment.
Oh my God, we do have an amendment. My bad.
Is this sources?
Shoot. Nope, that's light pollution again.
Did I link the same thing twice?
No, I think I just clicked on the same one twice.
Okay.
Yeah, there we go. Okay. Can I copy out of like a Google Doc online? Will it let me do that?
If you want to do like a Word doc save and just export it, it's very.
That's what I did on the last one, but I'm just kind of.
Is there any way for us to see the amended thing, or do you only have it?
I mean, you can send them the Google Doc link real quick if you really want it.
It's alright. I'm just wondering.
What?
You can send them the Google Doc.
I'm just wondering if there was a way we could see the amended, but like it's okay. I'm just curious.
The sources?
The amended thing, yeah. But
Yeah, it's already updated.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm uploading it directly into the.
Open up the.
Yeah.
Just refresh, open up.
Yeah, that's why I'm doing this, is so everyone can actually see the sources.
Even the non.
Who's taking minutes right now? Me.
Oh, did you say your name for the record?
No, I did not.
Okay,
I just
cool.
added her.
Cool, that's fine. Does anyone have an issue with that? Good thing it doesn't matter. Okay. Why can I not copy this entire page? What is wrong? There we go. OneDrive is not my favorite, although I'm getting more used to it.
Let's go sources.
You didn't have access to the OneDrive for forever, so at least you have access.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, why can I not highlight things? Okay, well that's crazy. This will take it. Yeah, give it a sec. All right, I think that worked. Let me know if everyone can see this.
Oh, hi there. It appears blank.
It should appear. I deleted everything and then pasted it. Does everyone see it?
It's still
my page apparently. Everyone reload your page. It should look exactly the same. Yes. Sweet. Okay, that's good to know. I think everything's fine. Yep. Okay. Senator Monson, 5 minutes whenever you are ready. Just, you have whatever time you feel is necessary. It's not, there's no procedure outlined.
Okay, say less. So this bill is about water conservation, which now has sources. So, it's very simple. Okay, this is about how water impacts our environment, how it impacts ecosystems, the technological advancements of the world, how they impact water conservation, and I guess the way that water impacts the world. Well, that's supporting biodiversity. Thank you, Austin. There's aspects of regarding agriculture, as you'd expect with water, because water, maintaining clean, safe water as well as good amounts of it will have impacts on the agricultural environment. And I feel like this is pretty self-explanatory bill. This one's not too revolutionary. There's no causing or correlating to cancer risks on this one. My mom works in the same department, hard. Water Management District, and she worked in it for 20 years, so I've naturally just like learned a lot about it and been really interested in it, even though I hope to not go into that field. The environment's important, y'all. I waive the rest of my time.
All right, Q&A on the amendment. Debate on the amendment. Final privilege on the amendment. Do you waive? Sweet. All right, are there any motions at this time?
I move to approve the amendment to SSP 2024-1365 by unanimous consent.
Any objections? Seeing none, the motion passes. All right, now we're in line for a Q&A on the actual. Let's just do Q&A on the actual. Yeah. Sweet. 5 minutes of Q&A. Are there any questions?
Is it the same thing where this is the first step for more for water conservation, or is this just kind of a thing you care about?
This isn't the first time this has happened, and I guess we're going to government because a lot of environmental sustainability does regard about water conservation. I know that in Green Caucus we did something about resolution for trees, and obviously trees and water are correlated in itself, so it did get brought up. This is something that I can talk about more so with Gators Growing Green, sustainability commissions here at UF, as well as just in the surrounding Gainesville area. We have a lot of springs around Gainesville. I don't know if y'all have ever been. I love the springs. They're gorgeous. That's also one thing as well, keeping those clean, keeping those, I guess, away from risks of hazards of any sort, and making sure that people can enjoy them while also just preserving the environment. That's another step, but I guess this can be a first step, but it's also not the first it's ever happened. So,
Okay, thank you.
Are you cool with striking Ben Sass and Scott Engel from the Provision?
go for it.
Have you talked to anyone from like the Department of like Sustainability and Development Practice, or like any of like the conservation like colleges, and like sent this to them at all?
Yeah, you have?
Yeah.
Yes, I. Lord have mercy. Sorry. I've talked to definitely some people within the sustainability commissions, which usually are involved with those colleges as well. One of my former professors, because I actually used to be a biomed kid. He's currently like the head of like the ecological sciences department. So it's like I've spoken to them about these issues before. It's more so getting it in writing.
Yeah, would you consider sending them a proviso first? Like adding into the proviso?
Some of them, I don't know they're necessarily their positions and things.
Okay.
So
It is listed in some other things, other resolutions. So if you found those and
I can
wanted,
amend it next week if I find it. but
Sounds
the
great.
day of the meeting. Sorry.
all right. I think I have a question for you. Would you be okay with naming these two bills as a volume, the Hunter Monson hates agriculture, farmers, and public safety resolutions? I rescind my question.
Name like Stop and Stop.
Any more questions?
Also just like as a side note, have you also thought, because I know like we have a lot of like different my friend works like at a farm on campus also did that. So like have you thought about like talking to them, like seeing
I'd love
like
to.
what the if you want contact info.
I'd love to, yeah.
Just like side note. Okay.
No more questions? All right, 5 minutes of debate. Great debate. Any more debate? Seeing none, 2 minutes of final privilege whenever you're ready.
I would, thank y'all.
All right, are there any motions at this time?
I move to amend SSB 2024-1365, striking the words University of Florida President Ben Sass, University of Florida Provost J. Scott Engel by unanimous consent.
Are there any objections? Seeing none, the motion passes.
I now move to pass SSB 2024-1365 by unanimous consent.
Any objections? Seeing none, that motion passes. All right, we're now in line for SSB 2024-1366. 5 minutes whenever you're ready.
Okay, so this might seem intimidating at first, but it's actually very simple. It's a very simple change. So previously, if like an ambassador, whatever worker, representative, like that's not a senator, is helping the campaign and is found to be in violation of certain things, aka walking them into polls. That's just one example. That is a very serious offense, and it will be like it can be easily disregarded. Or campaigning during Senate, because that's obviously something that's not allowed as well. And at that time, it's kind of just like up to the party and their, I guess, they suffer the consequences. So here with this bill, it could just literally be. It depends on the severity of it. Feel free to amend some language if you're scared of the word. Enforce any necessary consequential action. I don't think it's that concerning because it's just by case thing. I didn't want to explicitly say this happens, this has to happen because again, circumstances are different regarding campaign. We are aware of this. It's more so making sure that ambassadors and representatives are accountable during campaign because I've seen it on many different sides. I've seen it in different parties multiple times, my own included, during campaign that they've committed something that I was like, that is not allowed. That you can't do that. Basically, this is just enforcing it, whether that's removal of ambassador during that campaign term, because I feel like that perfectly understandable, I guess, consequence in this scenario, but this is literally just to evaluate that. And the legislative intent, I feel like, does cover that pretty well as well. So feel free to ask any questions. Yeah, I wait the rest of my time.
5 minutes of questions. Any questions?
Have you reached out to the Elections Commission about this?
I did during the fall 2023 cycle.
What did they say?
They said they wanted more specifics. I quote.
Do you want to reach out to them again and kind of work with them on this
I'd love
about
to.
specifics?
There's a new election commission, so obviously I'd love to talk with them more about it. It's been something that hasn't been decided until literally
So,
now. So
would
continue.
So would you like us to table this bill and then come back to this with newer information once you talk to the election committee?
I'm open to doing that, but I don't think this is something that would, I guess, be too weighed upon. I think they'd be like keeping someone accountable is a good thing, but I'm open to tabling if that's the route you want to go.
I just have a question. So currently, non-senators but representatives are technically allowed to campaign during Senate.
Yeah.
What's wrong with that, in your opinion?
I feel as if just because of the sake of, I guess, transparency, that's just my outlook on it. Because if senators can't do it, why should someone that's an ambassador do it? That's just also my outlook. Because the fact is, you can miss a meeting as a senator and just go undercover in theory and be an ambassador. So like, it's one of those things. If people want to skip a meeting, for example, and suffer some consequences, there's just hypotheticals. Imagine there's 40 people camped out of a polling location. Like, it's just a lot of things 40 people that are ambassadors, rather, are camped outside of a polling location. I think that could be an issue. It's more so just extremes that could happen. This is just a safeguard against extremes.
Okay, this is for debate, I guess. Yeah. Is there any more questions? Keep going. Time.
Is there any? Okay, two questions. By representative of a political party, are you specifically talking about ambassadors or things of the like?
It could literally be any other term that represents that political party. If they're basically wearing and campaigning political merch or just passing out political, I guess, support in a certain campaign, it could be non-apolitical. Like if someone just said go vote, that's not in violation of anything. But if it said go vote X, that is in violation. That's what I'm saying here. Because for example, if someone wanted to just sit inside a polling location and just pass out a flyer, that's obviously in violation. But someone just passed a flyer and said vote, that's very different. It's just the representative of that specific organization or party that could, I guess, suffer the consequences.
It's anyone who's affiliated with a party
Yeah.
during the campaign
Gotcha,
season.
that the term, like, I understand why the wording is used as it has to be.
It's a different term for ambassadors or whatever, because like,
Yeah.
I know that a lot of people in the two current parties, they call them like ambassadors. That's just how it goes, or visionaries.
Yeah.
Ambassadors, visionaries, that's how it is. I just want to do representative because they represent the ideals
Yeah.
and the likeness of the party.
That makes sense. And then follow-up question, is there any current, like, guidelines for these people to be, like, punished if they commit a, like, election violation?
It just goes straight to the party. Like, the election commission does it towards the party itself.
Okay.
Well, what consequences are they going to give the party?
Usually it's just measly fine. It stacks up over time. It does depend on how many times this is a recurring issue, how severe of an issue it is. That's one thing the election commission does, I guess, evaluate in that scenario. But as I've mentioned before, like for example, if a ambassador is doing something like absolutely like heinous, they can just be not allowed to be a representative during that campaign or during that cycle. I'd say. That's just one example of many. It's again up to the commission. That's like why I gave it kind of loose language, because I didn't want to set a thing on the commission, because one, they're in a different branch than us, they're in the judiciary branch. That's one thing I just try to stay away from as is. As well as the fact that I don't want to necessarily tell them what to do, because they're the ones that are there for their job, and they can weigh it based on their conscience.
Any more questions? That's also time. So, 5 minutes of debate. Beginning now.
I think that I love the idea. I'm all for it. But if you reached out to the election commission in the fall and they want specifics, I would just ask that we table this now. You ask the election commission what specifics they want, work with them, come back and put this in the up to debate.
Yeah, I really enjoy the intent of this bill. I think that the things we talked about where representatives should be held accountable if they're breaking rules, and if this is doing that, I think that's great. But I agree that in the same vein that you mentioned, not overstepping between the different branches, if you haven't spoken to the election commission specifically about do you want this, just confirming. I understand that they probably would, but I also think since the election season is not for a few weeks, then you have the time to table, make sure they're chill, and then come back, just to make sure that this is in the intent of what it's representing. But I like the intent of this bill.
All right, for me, so currently it's not holding them accountable because they're not required to not campaign. I think the intent of 763.2 is so that senators do not campaign in the Rights or in a Senate meeting. That's why it's just limited to senators, not specifically representatives of a political party. So overall, as of right now, if there are violations of skipping Senate, they're very minimal. The point being that these representatives aren't currently breaking the codes. So accountability is the wrong word to use for this. In my opinion, there's nothing wrong with continuing campaigning during the election as long as you're not breaking any of the other codes that are set out, like walking people to the polls, going inside. The reason it's for senators is because we are inside, and we do have a platform to speak on. So I think what this was attempting to do, at least this one section that's being amended, is prevent senators from campaigning in a Senate meeting. I don't think it's meant to stop campaign at the time of Senate. The reason being, there's nothing you would gain at a time of Senate more so than any other time of the day. So in my opinion, this doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Because, I don't really know what it's trying to do. I don't know if the thought is that campaigning of any kind during a Senate meeting is bad. If so, I don't know why it's any more bad during that time as any other time. So in my opinion, I just don't know why this is necessary. I actually think it'll actually decrease voter turnout, which is probably a bad thing. So in my opinion, if you're preventing people from campaigning and encouraging people to go to the polls during that hour and a half period, because the polls would be open 7 to 8:30, Senate would be starting at 7:30, it would be an hour. But it would prevent people from encouraging people to go to the polls to vote for a party or another, or share that information about platforms or whatnot during that last hour, which I think is probably a bad thing. I don't really know why we would be preventing that. So that's just what I had to say.
I agree with that. And that's why I feel like I also call for tabling. Because in the intent, it is about promoting transparency and consistency. I don't think there is any intent to lessen voter outreach. So I feel like if we can table and find a better wording for the intent of this bill.
I don't think it's an intent issue. The intent can say whatever it wants. Ultimately, that's not part of the law. So, like, the intent could be to do whatever, promote I don't know what transparency they're talking about in this bill. Like, there's no issue with transparency because you're allowed to campaign during an election. There's no, like, oh, they're breaking the codes because they're campaigning. If they're walking people to the polls, yes, that's an issue with transparency and consistency throughout an election. But I think it's more consistent to keep things the same during a Senate meeting. Now, the 763.2 should definitely include student senators not being allowed to campaign because they're in a meeting inside. Students can watch this meeting. It's public. So this could be construed as campaigning inside of a polling location or under a roof, which is, I think, the language they use. So it makes sense why you can't do it in Senate, and that's why senators can't. And this also covers other representatives campaigning at the meeting, like the Senate meeting. So I think that was the intent of this. I don't think it was to block off that hour window of Senate for campaign entirely. I think it's just to prevent it from happening in Senate. So in my opinion, the legislative intent doesn't really matter in this, but yeah. All right, any more debate? Seeing none, 2 minutes of final privilege whenever you're ready.
You worded the last bit pretty well, in my opinion, because of the fact that this is about making sure that people don't campaign inside the chamber. That being said, we do know this. People can go in during public comment in the Senate chamber. This is a fact. It is recorded. It's also, if someone is a representative of the party, they can simply do that. It is that simple. This is also another, I guess, situation. It could happen. People walking around and campaign material within the chamber is an issue. Like, we don't do it as senators. I don't know why we don't have it in the same regard for people that are ambassadors. Because of the fact that this is recorded, as you have mentioned. I don't know why we wouldn't have people that are representing our party to the same standard that we are. I think if you're running for office, you might as well have people that are helping you run for office be held to the same standard. You don't hear that in any local election. People can't, I guess, be away from or be different from the rules that the candidate does simply because you're supporting them. I feel like this could definitely be deliberated a little bit more next week. I do appreciate the committee's willingness to table it, and I appreciate them for recognizing the intent of this bill, because at the end of the day, I do want higher voter turnout, but I don't think campaigning during Senate as a senator versus an ambassador should be a difference. I think it should be consistent. That's just one thing why I included that, because being consistent during election is very important in my opinion.
All right. I lay the committee at rest. I think I misunderstood what this is trying to do. I thought this referred to campaigning during the time of. I think you're referring to campaigning in Senate.
No, I'm talking about during the time as well.
Okay, never mind then. Because I get your point. There's nothing in here that prevents a representative from campaigning in Senate. There needs to be something that says that. That's uncontroversial, because that would create a difference. The difference between the student senators and the other members during that time period, in my opinion, is the senators are in the Senate meeting. So,
But people can easily go in and meet this month as well.
well, yeah, but they couldn't speak. They couldn't campaign. We need to change this so that it says that representatives of political parties may not campaign in any regular or special meeting. That way, that's the bigger issue, I think. The time doesn't make any sense because there is a distinction between candidates and representatives when some of them are speaking. What?
Can I do a point of personal privilege real quick?
You could just speak.
All right, sweet. I try to follow.
Yeah, we're at rest.
If we want to do that, I'm open to striking the part in just 763.3 or 763.2, that first part where it's red. Getting rid of that, keeping that the same, like no more red, just the black part is staying the same. Adding the subsection under it, making 0.21 and such go down, and then reflecting based on what you just mentioned.
Do you want to table this and then do that after?
Yeah.
Like
I could
this?
easily
Because
send you an amendment and make it simple, but again, we can also table it. It's not that big of a deal.
Okay. That's fair.
I read it.
Yeah, we're at rest.
No, I think when I talk about intent, when we talked about it, it's about just making sure that like the election things and with ambassadors are held the same standard. I agree though that like actually campaigning during those hours is fine. I just when the intent of like making sure there is no like campaigning in the Senate chamber, just making sure that the rules of the election committee are being followed by everyone and being consistent. I also agree with that. So yeah, I think tabling or an amendment is necessary.
All right. I call the committee back to order. Are there any motions at this time?
I motion to table SSB 2024-1366 by unanimous consent.
There's been a motion to table SSB 2024-1366 by unanimous consent. Are there any objections? Seeing none, that motion passes. We are now in line for SSB 2024-1367. You have 5 minutes whenever you are ready.
This one I will ask you on the table because I do want to do some revisions and do an amendment. If I need to withdraw it, I'll do that too. But regardless, I would just need to work on it a little more.
You waive the
More
rest.
talk with some
You waive the rest of your
other
time.
people that had this original version and their colleges. So I waive.
All right, we're now in line for 5 minutes of Q&A. Any questions?
Yeah, I got a few. Okay, so the intention of this act is, in my opinion, a little bit jumbled. So I see what you're trying to do with the creating transparency, letting students know what's happening in student government. I love that personally. I don't think that it should be a committee, but I also see at the beginning of this bill that you kind of have like diversity going on, which I like, but it doesn't really have to do with the duties of this committee other than the very last committee that says diversity training. So what are you trying to do there?
Okay, so I'll give you the outline of what this is, why they are there, etc.
Yeah.
I'm trying to keep it short as well, in case anyone else has questions. But this is why I kind of wanted to wait or table and come back to it. So I want to make it more clear. This committee basically just deals with reviewing things in regard to student orgs and how the student body feels about certain things and regulations, how the student government is interacting with student bodies, student organizations. Hence the student body advocacy committee. It's mainly to do with reviewing. It's not supposed to create, it reviews. And that's why student orgs are going to be at the forefront of it, these leaders in the Big Nine. That's why the Big Nine is the head of it's the forefront of student orgs. We want people in the Big Nine to be, especially the presidents, which as I include, they may serve. It's not required, obviously. If they want to serve on it, if there's an issue pertaining to them, if there's an issue that they're like, this is happening within our organization, within our community, please do something about it without, let's be honest, sometimes it's hard to get in touch with your representatives, it's hard to get in touch with people that are your senators, as well as the people that could do something actually about this. So people in the Big Nine, the presidents, having a seat at the table, being able to speak is a very important thing in my opinion, as well as those in cabinets and agencies I also included, because these are very diverse issues. They have very diverse communities. It's very nuanced. It's to review policy. It's to review the things that are happening on campus, see any concerns, and then act on them. So,
does this need to be a Senate committee, or could it be something in the executive branch, or maybe even like INC reviewing things or posting polls on social media? I don't really see the point of having 9 senators, then you're having all these esteemed students who are president of these organizations coming together to really just review what's happening in the state government and then posting that.
Can I ask a question?
We're still in question time.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Are we all okay? Because it seems like,
Yeah.
technically, it seems like Senator Monson wants to make some revisions on this. It's all over. Are we all good if we just move forward and then table? Because I feel like any questions we may have, he may answer next week.
Okay, so this actually isn't a question.
Is it not?
The question has to be directly to him. So
Okay, with that, are you yeah.
that's good. That's really good. Yes, I'm absolutely okay with tabling, but I do also appreciate this question and answer period because it does, I guess, draw some concerns that we may have, improve upon. So hey, it's like a win-win, honestly.
I
Hey,
just wasn't sure if you wanted to
No, I appreciate it. It's not. I don't feel grilled at all. I like this. You had a question before as well as you, so I was like, how much time is left? How much time?
So I was
pause time really quick. Senator Falsiria has left the room. Senator Daniel Weinberger is now present.
Yes.
Cool. Just so it's on the record, you're good.
I was saying, could this be something you do in the executive branch with a smaller team, or possibly you do with like INC with putting polls on sort of like what you want to see? I don't think the intention of this bill is bad. I really like transparency in all forms of government, but I just don't feel like this needs to be a committee. Is that something you'd be open to?
The essence of this is the fact that the executive branch is kind of really bad at getting these student orgs to actually tell them what the issues are. A lot of time they're underutilized and ability to outreach. A lot of outreach cabinets, outreach directories have just not done well enough, in my opinion, which is why I've been patient. I've tried. I was like, a lot of things I reached out to one of the Big Nine ASU for almost everything I have. I was like, you'll see in some of my bills, you'll see ASU keyboard all over them. That being said, I don't necessarily have the power to tell the executive committee, make this. It's up to their discretion. It's up to their discretion on how to improve it. I feel like having a seat at the table within the legislative body is important. And if I can be frank, INC is kind of overworked sometimes as is, and they're behind on a lot of things. They do get, hey, I think here Judas does a lot more, but INC at the essence of the day, it's like a trickle-down effect with their system. I don't know if you're familiar with how they work though.
I have
That is time.
Oh my god.
Sorry.
We never
Just ask me
extend.
after, just ask me.
All right, we're now in line for 5 minutes of debate beginning now. Okay, I'm going to debate. So this has come up, the creation of a new standing committee, 3 times now. Every time I have the same answer to why I think this is a bad idea, especially the duties section. Well, first of all, this is a lot of people for this committee. There is a current executive committee that is supposed to do this. I think we should reform that instead of doing this in Senate. Because, let's go to the duties section. The Student Body Advocacy Committee will debate, amend, and pass measures advocating on behalf of the student body regarding student and university affairs. That is literally Senate. That's literally Senate. Okay, maintain a forum to outreach. That's INC, that one point. Nothing else in here is INC, but that one point. Review of student affairs and matters including but not limited to educational, environmental, economic, transportation, health, and safety concerns on and beyond the University of Florida campuses. This is Senate. This is every issue. We've literally talked about light pollution today. We've written resolutions on graduate affairs. We've written resolutions on water conservation. There are so many things. There's stuff about state legislation. We've done transportation stuff before, believe me. We've done health things before, mental health resolutions. This is what Senate does. This broad list of categories is Senate. We've made a mini Senate with this bill. Review all university policies, regulations, and resolutions. That's kind of what we do as well. We speak on university policies. And then the last section, E, we intend to have STAR complete that training. So overall, we've gone point by point. Yeah, sorry to let you know this late.
I just wrote that goal, and this is the STAR agency.
Yeah.
I don't think we do this.
Yeah, but that was the proposal. So either way, we've gone point by point through all of the duties of this committee and decided that every single one of them is already currently accomplished by or should be accomplished by one of the other standing committees or the Senate as a whole. Don't get me wrong. I think it's a good idea to have cultural organization leaders and agency leaders together in some format. But I don't understand why this isn't an executive thing. It makes no sense to have this. No. This doesn't do anything more than what we already do as a chamber. Standing committees are usually performing one specific function. We have budget, which deals with the budget and all fiscal financial policy. Judiciary reviews the 5 criteria. How much time do I have left? Okay. INC is specifically for outreach. Rules and ethics is specifically for absences and other breaches of duty and reviewing censures and impeachment. This is covering quite literally everything. And I think we should pour quite a bit of effort into amending the 500 codes where this is something that already exists, making this an executive agency where these sitting presidents have voting rights. It actually is a more effective committee because they're the only ones on it. It's not a senator thing. If they want policies passed, this was previously called the DEI Standing Committee. It's similar in intention to creating a new committee, having ex officio non-voting members. Again, good idea to have, not necessarily a Senate thing. There's other reasons that one was interesting, but this just doesn't add anything new. So in my opinion, this shouldn't be tabled. This should be either, I mean, I guess it could be tabled, but in my opinion, this would fail on the implication of redundancy and the fact that this doesn't add anything to the chamber as a separate committee. And that's my opinion. I've debated things like this before, so keep that in mind. Like I'm very opinionated on this. But that's what I think is the best option with this.
How much time do
A minute. Go or just so true. I agree. I think this should fail. I don't see the implication of this if we table it and bringing it back. I'm sorry, but yeah.
I agree with Chairperson Rubin. My only issue with it, or my only issue with what your comments, is that I don't think redundancy in this case is bad because in my opinion, when I see the intent, it's about bringing perspectives into the chamber of these people. I do agree it doesn't need to be a Senate committee because I think this specific bill is not accomplishing that goal. But I feel in Senator Monson's intent is to bring different perspectives to his issues that we've talked about in Senate, which I feel like should be noted, but I still feel that this bill does not need to be passed. Sorry.
Any more debate? Seeing none, we're now in line for 2 minutes of final privilege whenever you're ready.
Yo, I have a crazy proposition. I'm knocked off with this one. Don't fail it. Next week, I'll make it a 500 revision. Perfect.
Just make a 500 revision.
I can't do the same name though.
Change the name.
How do I change the name? So I'm going to send it to body executive advocacy committee.
You want me to amend the name right now?
You can do that.
So then we can fail it, and then you can, and then you can use the name again.
That's fine by me, but realistically, like, I do want to necessarily, like, I guess address some concerns. I appreciate that, like you said, redundancy is not always bad. You might say this, you might be like, wow, what are we? We're a government of checks and balances. You check, you balance, you check. That's how it works. I was like, and also, there are some parts that when I was saying I want to revise this, I meant it. The first part with the duties, Xing that out. That was the first thing I was going to do. As you mentioned, in the past, INC was supposed to do an outreach thing. Emphasis on supposed to, because they did not. And it was very poorly done. I think it got 6 responses, if I'm going to be exact, which is very poor. I do think it could be an executive committee, which is why I said I'll just do a 500 revision of it. It's that simple. But again, I can't really see how then that an executive committee can deal with legislation, because once that happens, it gets out of our realm. Because I don't know if any of us are going to be able to hear what that executive committee does. It's just going to be washed into another branch that we're never going to hear anything about, and then it's going to be a full cycle of saying, why is nothing happening, why are no bills happening in regard to the issues that we care about. So that's why I created in the first place, because I've been told multiple different times about certain things that I have concerned that have yet to be addressed, despite going to office hours, despite going to see an agency head. And also, I guess we had news about STAR dealing with diversity. I didn't know this until it's really
That is time.
Oh no, I'm doing it.
lit.
All right. We're now in line for any motions at this time. Are there? I didn't even number this bill. Sorry, guys. 1 second.
Are we enacting this?
Kill it.
Up to the committee.
Can I ask a question? In practice, like, what's the difference between just amending it then failing it versus just letting him table it?
He wants to keep the name.
Yeah, but why can't we just table it? Is it like?
I mean, we can. And then he's going to strike everything and then submit a new bill.
Is that bad?
No, it's exactly the same. Sure, why
Can I
not?
make a comment really quick? I have to leave right now. Is anyone going to take minutes when I'm gone?
I think you want me to, but actually I could do that with someone's though.
I'm going to give it to a Judiciary Committee member. Which Judiciary Committee member wants to take minutes?
I don't know how I can try this one.
It's easy. I put a template here.
Can we do it?
Sweet. Technically, it goes to me, so I'm not complaining. I don't know how that's supposed to work ever, but no, it's only for only the chair. Yeah, we should write that.
Check your.
There's also no vice chair right now, so.
The vice chair.
Wait, okay, it's template you said?
It's not a template. It's just like.
You can
Copy
yeah.
and paste what I did and just change the names of who's making the motion. This is template.
Yeah, you just have to mark down essentially who makes the motions, what motion is made, what bill numbers we're on.
Okay.
You don't actually have to write what people say.
Okay, but
That's-
just like the actual like things we do. Cool.
Yeah.
And
Motion passes.
secondly, all my bills are at the end. I'm leaving now, so yeah, sorry. No pressure.
I mean, tough luck. All right.
Wait, so that means we can't do like Q&A. We would just skip to debate.
Yep.
Okay.
Skip debate unless there's a representative to present.
There isn't.
You can
Gotcha.
only do it if you're sponsoring and none of my bills.
Yeah.
I mean, in theory, you can have a sponsor.
What's the number of this bill?
1367.
See you at the top.
All right. Are there any motions at this time?
I move to table SSC 2024 Direction 67 by name.
There's a motion to table SSP 2024-1367 by unanimous consent. Are there any objections? Seeing none, that motion passes.
Thank you.
All right.
It just sounds nicer when it gets tabled and fails.
I don't know, man.
Like,
Just
you're
keeps
on
coming
the
back. Okay. This bill was withdrawn, right?
Which one?
That's, yeah,
Yes.
I listened to it last night.
All right, so we're now in line for SSB 2024-1369. Senator Britton, whenever you're ready.
Okay.
You have 5
so I
minutes.
was working-
You have the timer?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Sorry, I was making sure, yeah.
okay, one, two,
Go ahead.
We're on
I
1369.
was working with Senator Arend on kind of an overall bill expressing support for the current state of unions at the University of Florida. So this bill goes through a couple of different steps. So the first thing it does is it works to build the case that unions should be supported and union goals should be supported on campus. It talks about what the unions are, the success they've had in the past, current issues facing them, and how they're being constrained from meeting their goals. There's a couple of little things about how housing is a current issue, stipends are an issue, legislation at different levels are issues, and there's all kind of conglomerate together into like the state of issues that these unions are facing. And then we work through the therefores then to address these issues as we've identified them. So we call for the Senate and the University Board of Trustees to support the existence of these unions, support their goals, and then we call for a couple of ways of working to address those issues throughout them. And that's kind of what it does. It kind of just builds this case that what the unions are facing and what the unions are, and then it calls for these different levels to support what the unions are doing, continue their goals and their organizing efforts, and to solve some of these issues through raising of stipends. And I waive the rest of my time.
All right. Are there any questions? There should be. This is a long resolution.
I'd just like if you could possibly expand upon when you say, I believe it's the last whereas clause about several bills have been passed by the state to limit freedom of expression across universities. If you could expand on that a little bit.
Yeah, so that's Senate Bill, I think it's House Bill 266 and Bill 7. Those were passed in 2023, and those go into sort of academic freedom in general. But the unions are very much against the existence of these bills. They think they're very constraining to universities in general, and that's one of the things that they have to fight for when we do bargaining. They have to fight to kind of protect against what these bills are doing, but because they're at a state level, it makes it a lot harder for these unions to kind of go against them. So it's kind of just a constant wind in their face.
Does the implication of supporting all current and future endeavors of employees exercising their collective rights concern you?
I'm not sure I understand the question.
How broad it is. Does the implication of that wording, especially the word all, current and future endeavors of employees?
I don't think so. I mean, I think the unions have made it very clear for several decades about what their goals have been, and I think that supporting their efforts now into the future gives that intent, saying we know they're at threat of being dismantled, we support them existing now and into the future.
I'll let everyone keep reading because I guarantee not everyone here read through the entire document. So make sure you read all the things in here.
When you say, I believe it's the second to last therefore clause, to raise the minimum stipend of graduate assistants to a living wage, could you tell us what you believe the minimum wage would be?
The living wage?
Living wage, sorry,
So
I'm
that
sorry.
is-
That's my mistake.
In one of my reports, I referenced living wage, and I have a link for that. That is calculated by MIT. They calculate based off of housing costs and CPI. They break it down, and they say this is what one person needs to make to be able to pay all of their minimum things per county in the U.S. So we take the living wage from that.
Okay.
I think I can't remember the number, but I have a link there. It should link directly to Lancaster County or what that number is.
Okay, so it's for specifically.
It's for
Lancaster.
specifically Lancaster County. Yeah.
This is per county, so that's including all the areas in the Alachua County that's rural.
Yes.
This isn't specific to Gainesville and the University of Florida, where everything is going to cost a lot more. around
Exactly. So
here.
that was drag with the living wages down, but even with the living wage being dragged down by the lower areas, then we're still 55% short, right?
So would this mean that the minimum living wage around the University of Florida would be significantly higher than, let's say, I don't know what the cities are around here. I'm from South Florida. I just moved here about a year ago, but around here.
It could be. When I reference living wage, it's in on a county level. That's what the intent of this is. That's what the union supports is a living wage based off the county level. It doesn't try to go any deeper than that.
Are there any more questions? Or do people need more time to read this? Hello.
Yeah,
Nobody?
let's
All right.
Read it a little bit.
Sure. We have another minute, so go for it.
Which one are we on?
1369.
Do we have to announce that she's back?
Yeah, he has another minutes. Yeah, it's fine. Usually it's not that relevant unless there's a vote. So if you miss a vote, that's a big deal. So.
Can I still ask a question?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we have 40 seconds.
Just to clarify, in the last resolution where it says calls upon UF to increase benefits available to the grad assistants, that would still mean that there would be negotiations involved, correct? Like it wouldn't just automatically increase GA's stipends, for example.
You know, obviously, we're not demanding the university unilaterally create these things. We're calling on them to, work with the GAU to increase these benefits. And they can do that without bargaining. They can just say they're raising things, but the current process is through that bargaining process.
All right,
Is that
that's
the
time. Now line for 5 minutes of debate.
Well, hi everyone. I'm a grad student on the committee. I'm also going to be a graduate assistant next semester, and I was currently on a different fellowship for my first year of grad school, and I honestly believe that this is an amazing resolution. The GAU does a lot to support graduate students and graduate assistants in the entire university, and I think it's a great lifeline that GAU provides, especially for grad students that are young. Like, most of them are young, not all of them are, older, have families, have kids. And I think it's a great community that connects you to the issues of Florida that are affecting our campus, especially the academic freedom restrictions of those that you were talking about. But overall, the stipend and the issues with the stipends and being on the front lines of the negotiations with UF is a great aid. And just by saying that the Student Senate supports unions, that's all that we're saying. I think it's a great thing to do. I think that this is a great resolution, and I encourage everyone here to pass it. If anybody else has questions on living wage, minimum wage, that's what I do professionally. I do research on that, so if you have any questions on that, I can answer that off the record another time.
I would say my main concern is that as far as when it says the several additional bills passed by the state of Florida to limit freedom and expression across universities, I don't know if implying that the state of Florida is limiting freedom and expression across universities is necessarily a great thing something to have coming through our Senate. That's just my personal concern with it. So.
All right, I'm going to go through a few things really quickly because I spent some time reading over the sources. All right, so the whereas clause that says we were ranked in the top 10, now with a lower ranking than previous years, this is unnecessary. This doesn't add any value to the resolution itself in any way I can see. I asked about why 2017 in particular. Senator Britton answered that for me. It's because that was exactly 2 negotiations ago on the 3-year negotiating cycle. That's fine. I want to know if that 29.2% is CPI, change CPI, whatever it is. Either way, not a huge deal. The minimum stipend remains 55% below the living wage. Okay, this needs some explaining. So currently, the grad stipend, this isn't including the tuition waiver, which also is associated with working as a graduate assistant. The stipend for, it's basically called FTE. 1.0 is full-time employment. 0.5 is part-time, half-time employment. So I learned some information today, but overall, if you're full-time employment, 1.0 FTE, you make $38,400 plus an additional $12,000 in tuition waiver. This doesn't talk about the tuition waiver, which I think it should, because the total financial gain from a 1.0 FTE grad student is $50,000, which is above the living wage in Gainesville. It comes out to around $25 an hour as opposed to $20.81. Now, again, I learned today that international students can only do 0.5 FTE, which means that even though they're making $25 an hour, they're not able to work full time, which means they cannot make enough money to sustain themselves. That's something new I learned today, but I think that's something that should be included in this resolution, just to give full context, because that 55% number isn't entirely accurate, because I don't know how that wage is divided amongst everything. Okay, continuing on. This paragraph about consummate with 1% of the university's budget, and it'll have a positive impact, including increasing the revenue of the university. I talked to Senator Britton. This is probably correct, but without a source, I have a little bit of a difficult time including it in a resolution like this. Overall, I agree with the sentiments in this resolution. There's more stuff. Basically, this resolution is very broad. It encompasses a lot of different things that the unions here at UF would like to see changed. In my opinion, this requires at least some sort of, it requires more specificity. So if this were specifically asking for a stipend increase, that would make more sense than tying in international grad students and the language in recent state legislation, also living wages, also collective bargaining and other state legislation that doesn't deal with graduate students. In my opinion, this bill is just too broad and not specific enough on exactly what the unions here want. So I think this should be tabled. I agree with the sentiment. I just think this should be tabled so that it can be more streamlined into a specific issue that the grads would like to see resolved and express a statement on. That's all I have to say. That's time. I can lay the committee at rest if people want to do that. Yeah, I lay the committee at rest.
My thing, I agree with what you're saying, like about being more specific.
Sorry, do I have to write on the committee these at rest?
Yes.
But this is like for just expressing the support for unions, so like should like they go back to the resolved parts to be more broad, like just like for some clarity there. Because I can see like another resolution passing about like advocating for stipend increases. That could be its own thing that's more specific.
Yeah.
It includes like international students, and also that like not every department gets paid the same amount and everything.
So I think, in my opinion, this is attacking 3 main issues. State legislation, livable wage and stipend, and then international students in graduate programs as graduate assistants. So my thing with this is these resolved clauses ask for raising the minimum stipend, increase the benefits available. What does that say? Support all endeavors, Board of Trustees release statements, supports the unionization efforts, continued existence. So these continued existence, unionization efforts, and missions, therefore let it be resolved clauses, deal with like what this resolution defines as attacks against collective bargaining and unions. So that's like HB 256. That also covers, and like the last 2 paragraphs are about international students specifically, or that one paragraph and there are also different figures. Like if we're referring to livable wage of a stipend for a graduate assistant who's international or not, those figures are different.
Exactly.
Because it's not 55% if you're not international. But if it is, I think it is. Am I correct on that?
You are correct, but not correct. International students are maxed at 0.5 FTE, which means most grad students are maxed at 0.5 FTE. The minimum stipend for non-month employees at 19,200 number. Around 40% of graduate students make that number. International or not.
Okay. So there is a split though. So in my opinion, that's something that, and we saw this with other resolutions in the spring, where although like obviously you're allowed to use data that supports a conclusion in a resolution, sometimes for the benefit of the student body in the Senate chamber, most people don't know that. So you'd want to split that into two different things where you could specifically talk about how the state has affected international grads or whatever. Also, this line about the 26% of classes are taught by graduate students. We talked about this earlier. That's just not entirely correct. That's correct for USF and Purdue, not for UF. So we would have to include that in the resolution. And then this increase in assets, we talked about this earlier as well. This isn't entirely reflective of an increase in, say, endowment for UF. Because the net position of UF, which is made up of the assets and liabilities, basically every position they hold in a variety of different stock options and industries are balanced out with some of their debts that they currently have. So this asset increase isn't entirely reflective of UF's net position change since 2017. So go for it.
There as well is we talked on the
Yeah.
on the phone. We talked about this a little bit. I went through and I tried to figure out what those net positions were. The net position's a weird one because in 2018 there was a rule change, and so in 2018 they calculated liabilities different, which added about $1 billion in liabilities because they're calculating post-employment like retirement benefits into those calculations. If you take their net position change from 2018 to 2023, so after the rule change, you have to worry about that. The net change is still around 78%. So you can make very minor edits to that and say net position from 2018 and change the figure to make sure it's the exact percent. It's 75.5%, that's what it is. And if that makes it a clearer clause, you know.
Yeah, in my opinion, I agree with the sentiment of the resolution completely. I do think that it's overall not entirely clear what the purpose would be for the unions. I understand why it's being submitted, and I think all of these things are reasonable things to write resolutions on, but wrapping it into one I don't think is the best way to go about this. That's my opinion. You can have a difference of opinion, but that's just what I think when it comes to relatively complicated resolutions like this. Even though there's plenty of good data, sometimes the distinctions between classes within these graduate groups affects how the data reads. There's also, minimal data concerns, like we'd fix some things like the 26%, we'd have to amend some wording, specifically cite which inflation rate was measured in 2017 in that whereas clause. I don't know why we say that we have a lower ranking. It's just, I don't think that really, does that advance a specific part of the resolution?
It's a statement that the past year or two, the ranking's gone down by a couple of places.
Okay.
You know, and that could be indicative of not paying graduate assistants enough, which I could have linked as a resource as well. But
All right, anyone else want to speak?
Yeah, I share the same sentiment as Trevor Smith. I really enjoy. I was excited when I saw this resolution. Like, I think we need more support for graduate students in general, for unions in general. I think this is a great cause. But I agree that it can just be amended a bit for more clarity. But I think it's something that should be passed, like in our chamber, just not right. You know, as Levi said.
So, are we trying to table this?
Table.
It's someone can make a motion. I don't think this should fail.
Yeah. Yeah. Are we good? Are we called back to order?
Yeah, I call us back to order.
Are we starting today? Or
Make sure you mark down that I called us back to order. Sweet. All right, we're now in line for 2 minutes of final privilege, right? Yes, 2 minutes of final privilege.
I appreciate your guys' comments and concerns on that. I still believe that this is a good bill. Obviously, it is one of several things that I have been working on this past, and a lot of those things are specifically based around this sort of, a housing issue and like stipends and things like that. This bill, it's a statement of here's the situation and we would like to fix it, and then later things can go really hammer what's going on those specific details. But adding 300 various clauses wasn't going to work either way. I appreciate whatever you guys end up doing at the end of the day, but I still do think that is a good bill that can, serve as an introduction to my works over the next few weeks as well. And I regress my time.
All right, we're now live for any motions at this time.
I move to table SSB 2024-369 by unanimous consent.
There's been a motion to table SSB 2024-1369 by unanimous consent. Are there any objections? Seeing none, that motion passes. We're now in line for, do I hear a motion to call for a recess until callback by the chair by unanimous consent?
So moved.
Are there any objections? Seeing none, the motion passes. I call this meeting back to order at 6:01 p.m. on June 4th, 2024. We're now in line for the consideration of SSB 2024-1370. May every member of the committee please state their name for the record.
Adriana.
Matthew Bravo.
Daniel Weinberger.
Jackson Ransom.
Joshua Yachik.
Arshan Palasiri.
Megan McGuire.
Aaron Rubai as chair, and any other members here?
Tyler Spar.
Austin Burton.
Awesome.
Wait.
Yes.
Alright.
With 8 members present, quorum has been established. You also need to write that down too.
First I'm taking it.
It's not super easy. Like RNA is so easy to take the minutes for.
Wait, sorry, tell me your name again.
Tyler.
Tyler Sklar,
Okay.
Tylersklar.
Yeah, it's in here. Cool. And then quorum is established.
Yep, 8 members present. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, sweet. All right, we have 5 minutes for presentation. Whenever Senator Britton is ready.
Hey everyone, entirely separate issue, but still something I'm very passionate about. So this is in regards to climate change and climate action plans on the university. So we start by going through some statements that I pulled out of an IPCC report. It's the same citation, but I felt like these were the best kind of quotes to kind of get you at like what the overall picture is in terms of climate change. We go into a couple of things about the current state of it. So we also have a quote from NOAA about the current hurricane season, just to connect things more locally to Florida. In the University of Florida, we talk about Climate Action Plan 2.0, CAP 2.0, which has been created, has been stalled for several years. The University of Florida is unique in that perspective of not having a good climate action plan. We call back to Senate bills that were passed earlier in the spring in regards to climate change and called for certain action. And that was an important moment. It was really good. It made news, and I saw a lot of news about it, about being one of the first calling for a Green New Deal across the nation. So this kind of connects back to those things and calls upon the University of Florida to take action in regards to the support that obviously exists and the gaps that are obviously exist. So adopting and implementing a climate action plan, raising the voices of historically excluded communities through those actionable items, to be transparent in how they're going about this process, to make sure they have this sort of input, to divest from certain things. And then we go through, Alachua County is creating a climate action plan. The University of Florida has declined being a part of that climate action plan, even though they're in Alachua County, so it directly states that that is existing and states that the University of Florida should work to get a liaison on that committee, and kind of calls for these things to start happening as soon as possible and be transparent about that process. So it's a lot of callbacks to those previous things that have already passed, but it's just reiterating that the Senate believes these things, supports these things, and gives some really direct, actionable items towards the Board of Trustees on things they should be taking steps towards to make progress on these goals. And I'm ready to rest my time.
All right, we now have 5 minutes for question and answer.
All right, so in your therefore let it be further resolved and both of those, you say that you want the University of Florida to divest from fossil fuels and related industries extending through January 1st, 2025, which is in approximately 6 months. Yeah. So currently, I'm looking at the U.S. Energy Information Administration. I don't know what the percentages are for the University of Florida as well as Gainesville, Alachua, Florida, but on the U.S. Scale, fossil fuels amount to 60% of the share total of the top three are natural gas, coal, and petroleum. That's the website I'm looking at. Just straight up, that won't happen by 2025. I think that you're on the right track, but just how about we set a goal for later on?
I think that's perfectly reasonable. I set that goal with the intent of having a concrete goal, and then the next statement says we need monthly progress on that. So yeah, I agree with, you know, if a future goal is something more reasonable. I'm not very well versed in how long that process would take.
I mean, I'm kind of passionate in this too. It's just, and I firmly believe that we should switch to renewables at some point and nuclear energy. But think about the amount of space solar panels take up, a nuclear power plant, wind turbines, and all those. I don't know about wind turbines, but the areas that all the others take up, that's now unusable land, meaning that all the environment that was there cannot be used anymore. So this is a problem because Florida has so much nature, and we would have to figure out how we would tackle that. It's kind of like it's a trade-off, but debating that and then also building the infrastructure just won't happen until 2025.
I think maybe I'm confused on here. My goal is to divest, you know, financially from these systems, not divest in terms of become carbon neutral by 2025 and support the industries. It's the investments they have that range in millions of dollars, switch the industries that they are investing in to those industries that are not related to fossil fuels. And maybe that wording could be better to make that more clear, but that is the intent behind that, is divest financially from those.
Yeah, it just says to divest from it.
Yeah.
Would you be open to striking some of the proviso recipients of this bill?
Yeah, this is the first time I've written legislation and I talked to the chairman. I honestly took the proviso from the ones in the spring and I made a couple of modifications, obviously because I need to do my president and stuff, but whichever ones you know are too extraneous, obviously, Ron DeSantis isn't going to read this. So, you know.
So what is the consequences of divesting? Like, what are we losing from divesting from fossil fuel and related?
All right, I will point out this isn't really something that judiciary
sorry.
needs to concern itself with. No, that's a reasonable question, but we shouldn't. That's not like relevant to the validity. Yeah. Okay, I have a few questions.
Quick, nice question. Do I write down or do you
Yeah. Can the individual who just walked in please state their name for the record? All right. Okay, I have a few questions. Would you be amenable to striking these dates? A lot of them aren't feasible, in my opinion. I don't think having a date is really the most effective way of doing this, especially with some of them so close. They're just not gonna, that's not gonna happen for a lot of these.
I think some of the dates, I definitely agree, are not as reasonable. I think having dates is an important aspect where you can, you know, set a concrete goal and say the university has not met the obligation to be called upon. One date in particular, it revolves for like the Alachua County plan by September 1st. That one seems like very reasonable. That's just sending an email and requesting. That doesn't say they have to have someone on there working full time. But for the other ones, maybe I would be happier with maybe setting a more reasonable goal depending on what is amenable.
Okay. Last question: is there a reason that you included in the therefore? It's the third. Therefore, let it resolve clause. You said raising of voices belonging to historically excluded communities. And then you go into a board of trustees committee where the above groups are the majority. Yeah. Is there a reason that you included that? I feel like that's kind of... I don't necessarily understand this. I like the committee at rest. This is going to take some more discussion. Sorry, everybody. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I wanted to ask why that was included as one of the first things here. I think that would be good to include under student leaders from like diverse backgrounds, whether that's ethnic backgrounds, religious backgrounds. But I'm not sure why specifically did you choose that group to be the majority of a board of trustees committee, which I'm not even sure exist?
The above groups is supposed to indicate student and faculty groups, not the diverse community backgrounds. So I was trying to stick to that same clause.
Okay, got
And
it.
maybe it should just be changed to wherein student and faculty are the majority, to match that intent.
Okay. I'm not sure the Board of Trustees do committees like that.
I'm not.
I don't think.
I know they have specific committees regarding to certain things.
I know they have.
Limitations on their creation or like how that.
Yeah, I'm not sure how that works. Also, I have a really interesting thing that helps clarify this divestment clause. Oh, also, sorry, let me just do these other two really quick. Monthly public updates regarding climate change planning and action. That's not going to happen. As cool as it would be to ask for it, the word regular is better than monthly. I mean, even that isn't a great idea, just because it's not going to happen. I mean, a monthly update from these individuals is extremely implausible. I don't know what the word is. Anyway, I'm not sure the word monthly is good in either of these. Would you be okay with regular instead of monthly?
I'd be okay with regular. Yeah, I mean, it's still awesome to do it and to make it.
Yeah.
I feel like with the intent, where like Russ is
Mm-hmm.
where Russ is
Yeah.
now, I feel like the intent, from what I understand, when you say like monthly, making sure they're held accountable and are doing it at least once, like monthly, but I feel like feasibility wise, like we could barely get them to do anything. And like requesting monthly, that's like my main thing when I was reading this bill, because I also love the intent of this one. I think the specific dates, the specific requests, although they are good for accountability, limit the feasibility, and I think those parts should be amended to make sure that it actually gets done, actually gets passed, you know?
Yeah, and I think my main thing is I want to do something that, doesn't just call for them to do it and then, when they say regular updates, do we have to wait 6 months before we, start talking about they haven't released an update, or is it like regular for them is once every 2 years for an update, right? So having something that has a concrete time step is what I was kind of leaning towards in this sort of, and that's why it's written.
That's what I read, and that's the intent I felt. What do you think can be done to?
The truth is, whatever time frame you put on it will not be met. That's the gist of it. Regular, monthly, yearly, annually, it doesn't matter what time frame we put in a resolution. They will do it whenever they feel like it.
Yeah.
Ultimately, this is not something that brings me to another point about the third to last clause that says UF Student Senate compels the CFO to review the economic effects of climate change and upon the operations of UF and student and faculty life, report on such effects. First of all, we can't compel anybody. That's not the authority of a resolution. We can encourage things. We can't compel actions on behalf of faculty. That's not what a resolution does. Furthermore, I am fairly confident this is not under the authority of the CFO. I do not think this is what they are spending their time doing. I think there has to be someone else who's doing this, if there is anyone. Reviewing the entire economic effects of climate change upon the operations. I mean, realistically, this is third-party consulting. This isn't an in-house CFO thing. This clause, I don't think, belongs here, because I don't think, A, we can compel the CFO, or B, that it's the CFO's authority or jurisdiction to do this, or that they will do it. The deadline, same thing. And then the last thing, as for the divestment, I think it would be better than saying this to reference people to the Green New Deal that we passed, because it had specific action plans for the process of that financial decision. So I would reference, in here, I think it would be better, it calls upon the University of Florida to follow the financial plan illustrated in this bill and this bill, because this is, it was much longer than this. It included the full plan of auditing and all that stuff, so it would allow students to go find the entirety of the information rather than just this quick statement. I think that would arguably be better, because then it provides at least a full picture view of what the financial plan advocated by students would be. And I think it's good to stay consistent on that, because I'm not specifically sure how they talked about exchange traded funds in the Green New Deal. I don't think they did. So I don't know why we would switch what we're advocating for when it comes to this financial plan. I mean, overall, I think this is a good thing to pass. The dates, I'm not sure about. I don't like the dates.
Do you want to try to, or I guess in your opinion, would you rather try to amend all the things now or to?
I mean, I leave that up to the committee to figure out, but I would like to pass it if possible, and if that means amending it now, I think that'd be great, especially since all these things are very long, or just changing the dates and stuff.
Yeah, I think amending this is possible because there is realistically, there are still several goals. It's still broader than I would like it to be as a resolution. Like, this is asking a lot from a lot of different people, a lot of different financial decisions and public update, but it's somewhat more coherent because of the Green New Deal that was passed. So at least there's some framework that you're operating under.
You know, it's broad, but it's also like more specific to something
Yeah.
that's happening now.
Yeah.
With the county and like that climate action and like the Alachua County Citizen Climate Advisory Committee. I think that's important.
Yeah.
So,
I think let's amend this.
yeah.
Can you clarify the Board of Trustees committee thing?
Me?
What's gonna happen with?
That's a question for Senator Britton.
I mean, the committee would work to help the Board of Trustees as they're navigating this process. They're not going to be experts in climate science and stuff like that, but we have students in faculty that are invested in this and can give further input to them without requiring them constantly to set up a meeting with student leaders that might not show up. They have a select committee that would help them through that process. That could connect them for 2-hour meetings with people who are making those decisions on how infrastructure is built on campus and things like that.
Okay. But you said that you were maybe aware that they could do it, or you knew there were some committees, but you didn't know how they
I'm aware
formed
the
new
Board of
committees.
Trustees has committees that
Yeah.
can make and change those. I'm not sure the process they have to go through for that,
Okay.
which is why it's calling on them to do that. They will follow their process on how that would work. And it could be at the end of the day that they follow it through and they have no person that could lead it to
Okay.
work as purely identified here. But from what I can tell online, there's no issues with calling them to attempt to create it.
All right. I call the meeting back to order at 6:18. What were we in? We were in Q&A?
Yeah, we had 13 seconds.
In Q&A?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Anyone else have any questions? Seeing none, 5 minutes of debate. Let's start amending this. Anyone have any debate? Nope. All right. 2 minutes final privilege.
I wait my time.
Okay. Okay, I'm gonna. Okay, I like all the IPCC stuff. So, and NOA, like the sources are good. Wait. Also, school procedure. Quick question: do we not have an updated climate action plan? Isn't that what CAP 2.0 was?
CAP 2.0 is updated to a point, but it's updated as of several years ago, and it's not constantly being kept updated. That language where it doesn't have an update is from the Green New Deal that was passed. That's language on how they refer to
Okay.
the CAP 2.0.
Okay.
It's on the progress of being constantly updated and implemented in any degree. So.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Do I hear a motion to amend SSB 20241? I'm just going to say 1370 because we're going to do this a few times. So that the fourth, therefore let it be resolved clause states through regular updates instead of regular public updates instead of monthly public updates by unanimous consent. Are there any objections? Seeing none, that motion passes. You don't have to do that. Just say amendment created by. Yeah, because I amend it in real time, so you don't have to do that. Who said so moved?
Yeah, that's it.
So, yeah. All right. All right. Okay. And hear me out on this one. This is going to be a 2-step amendment. Do I hear a motion to amend 1370 so that the third, therefore let it further be resolved clause is stricken, and the second to last clause states. No, I guess it doesn't. I rescind that. Okay, do I hear a motion to amend 1370 to strike the clause that compels the chief financial officer to review the economic effects of climate change by unanimous consent? Are there any objections? Seeing none, that motion passes.
Wait, quick logistics question. Do I just write Senator Blank moves to amend?
Yes.
For each of these? Cool.
Okay.
I move to amend SSB 1370 so that the seventh therefore clause replaces monthly with regular, or strike. Yeah. Yeah? Yeah.
By unanimous consent?
By unanimous consent.
Are there any objections? Seeing none, that motion passes. Okay, actually, I'm gonna do this. Do I hear a motion to amend 1370 so that the clause before the one we just amended, the sixth clause, states, calls upon the University of Florida to follow the financial plan outlined in the Green New Deal, Volume 3. That's when they talk about everything from auditing to divestment, by unanimous consent. Okay. Are there any objections? Seeing none, that motion passes. What was the full title of the Green New Deal? Was it Green New Deal 2.0? Or was it just Green New Deal?
It
was just Green New Deal.
1174.
Yeah, the Green New Deal, right?
1174, like 76 or 77.
Yeah, the numbers are linked in there. The third one would be 1185.
1185?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, and then do I hear a motion to amend 1370 so that in the following clause it states the UF Student Senate release public, it should be a regular public update. Regular public updates on this financial plan, because it's not just divestment, it's also auditing and everything else by unanimous consent.
I moved.
So moved.
So moved.
So moved.
Are there any objections? Okay, seeing none, that motion passes.
I move to strike Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, Chair Board of Governors Brian Lamb, Secretary of Florida Department of Environmental Protection Sean Hamilton, and University President Ben Sass, and Board of Trustees Chair Moore Hosseini from SSB 2024-1370 by unanimous consent.
Are there any objections? Seeing none, that motion passes. Okay, let me look through this again. Did we get through everything? Do I hear a motion to strike the date? Did I already strike the date by accident? I think I struck the date already, but do I hear a motion to strike? I'm just every date in SSP 2024-1370 in the therefore let it be resolved clauses by unanimous consent.
So moved.
Are there any objections? Seeing none, the motion passes. Okay. I think we're almost through. This has been a complicated amendment process, but I think we can pass it. Okay. Do I hear a motion to amend SSB 1370 so that the third, therefore let it further be resolved clause states that the University of Florida Student Senate calls upon the University of Florida to address the climate crisis through the involvement of students, administration, and faculty of a variety of different backgrounds and skill sets by unanimous consent. I think that. Are there any objections? Actually, wait, let me do this really quick.
Am I allowed to speak during this amendment process or no?
Technically, no, but if you're going to mention the last amendment I just made, I'm going to include that after that first statement.
Okay, yeah, it was just involving the historically disadvantaged.
Yes, yeah, I'm adding that
I
next.
thought that was an important couple of words that needed to be included, because that's not
Yeah.
the whole point of that one.
Mhm.
Okay, thank you.
So, yeah, I'm adding that right after that. Do I hear a motion to amend that, therefore that it resolve clause, so that after the previous amendment we add, especially those from,
The correct phrase I have. Historically excluded communities.
by unanimous consent, are there any objections? Okay. Yeah, I don't think this last line on the Board of Trustees thing. Okay. Do I hear a motion to amend SSB 1370 so that we strike wherein the above groups are the majority of the members by unanimous consent? I think that's just confusing. Are there any objections? Seeing none, the motion passes. Okay, I think that's actually fine. All right. Do I have any motions?
I move to pass SSB 2024-1370 by unanimous consent.
Are there any objections? Seeing none, that motion passes. Good job. Okay, now we're speed running. Okay. We're now in line 4. And for the consideration of SSB 2024-1371, there is no author or sponsor present.
Is this even like allowed? For like sunshine laws? That's all I'm gonna ask.
What?
This bill, this current bill.
Yes. We just added this. It's not required.
It's stupid. That's just not personal.
This actually doesn't count as public notice. This isn't the public notice. This is something we chose to do.
It's become the public notice, which is better.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh wait,
Oh, yep.
the room.
Senator Finley Gibbons.
Okay. We're in line for debate. Starting now. Debate.
Oh, go ahead.
I think that this is like striking what this bill intends to do is kind of like an accessibility issue. And like it weakens the overall like enforcement of it. I would advocate for just like, okay, like if we need to get rid of 315.6, then make it so it's like the INC committee has to alert them 24 hours prior. Yeah.
What?
Like, okay, in 315.5, they're striking, so like, there's no requirement to
Yep.
post it, right?
Yep.
I would say like, to make it at least 24 hours prior, like to change it to that.
Okay.
And like, even going as far as like, okay, striking the section after, like, so there's no, cause that is enforcement of it. So, okay, we're striking the enforcement, but at least like post something 24 hours prior.
So, okay. So technically, we do already have to do that. 24 hours is a requirement for the rules and procedures. So this doesn't change that. All this does is basically Laurel has to post now when our meetings are on the Instagram page. This was a.
Is this the right
For what?
This is judiciary.
Oh, I'm sorry. Do you guys have any idea what a blue lagoon room is?
Yeah.
Oh.
It's right next, it's this, the whole room outside.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah, sorry, I was so confused. I didn't interrupt.
No worries.
Okay, so this basically the issue with this and what there has been problems with. That's why the enforcement part was stricken. Was it's difficult, especially when we don't set committee times until pretty last minute because people are doing a bunch of things over summer. Is Laurel would get information late from the chairs, which would result in her being penalized for us not having scheduled things. This is how things were before the last week of spring.
Exactly.
So this is up for debate because some people believe there should be more notice online. Some people don't. I don't think this is a judiciary question here because this was in practice forever. This is brand new. And currently it has not been functioning well. I'm personally a fan of having some sort of online thing from INC, but we need to be able to strike this enforcement part just because more often than not, it's the chair's fault. Because there's no penalty for me if I submit something to her with 23 hours or 24 hours remaining, which is what happens, and then she has to immediately post it. So it's so right now the enforcement part definitely needs to be stricken because poor Laurel. But as for the other stuff, that's in my opinion for debate on the Senate floor.
I shared a concern for not having the same thing with accessibility, not like making sure. I feel like notices are very important to put out. Although I spoke with majority party leader Cipher, and I understand why they want to change this, just because it places a lot of burden on Laurel, a lot of punishment for her specifically, when a lot of it is out of her control. My concern with completely taking out the May or making it May is that what if this doesn't happen? And I think this is still a practice that should be kept up. That is more a thing that we have to speak to INC and Laurel about, just to see if they have the intent to regularly keep doing this. But I understand the sentiment behind not wanting to make it a punishable offense when it might not be heard.
What if we just like keep all this stricken parts and then change it like back to shall? The INC committee shall notify. Yeah, shall notify on the official. Shall is more enforceable.
If we say shall, but we don't
Are
put in
encouraged.
what happened? Yeah, if you don't put
I
enforcement.
think it would just be a weak enforcement. Like there's no
Yeah.
enforcement
If we say
protocol.
shall, but we don't say should be punished, like, what does that mean?
That means she could not do it and not be punished.
But-
So it's essentially the same. Shall is definitive. The only thing that would do is it would allow her to be censured because she'd be violating the codes. Or impeached.
If you're,
Yes. So technically there still is a punishment. It's just not a punishment of removal from, let me see. What was it before? Yeah, this was review of the committee chair. If we say shall, it's essentially the same thing. We didn't actually have to include this
What if
Is she
there's,
because the censure can be brought against
is
anyone.
there another person or like outside of like the chairpersons that can put it
That
online?
is Sam.
Sorry.
Committee, the committee or-
All right. What?
can I answer your question?
I'm the committee or-
He did.
You can't do that actually.
I thought you just did it.
No.
You just put it up.
I didn't. I can.
I thought you just did it.
No.
I don't know if you did it under your breath, then
No.
you just did, bro.
I don't know if I should look through that.
Huh. Yeah, I'll put it at rest. Be quick with it.
Okay, so basically the chair dealing with Instagram and the chair it's like a trickle down thing. The chair tells them to do things and directs it that way.
There's not like a rights Instagram? Rights meeting?
No.
No.
And if there were one, it wouldn't be
It's
up
not
to date.
by Esther. Anyway, thank you.
Change this shall to a may.
Which shall to
Oh.
In 315.6, because right now there's no,
Oh, May was
everything in 315.6 is a may. There's no you shall take action against it. It's like you may recommend to student senate. Like there other than the review committee chair shall result in review of the committee chair by rules and ethics. That's the only part that's actually enforceable other than 315.5.
So change that first line.
So-
Yes, but censure is still an option, even if it's. We'd have to change everything to may.
But
The point
yeah,
is
but
this.
that's the thing. Everything is essentially may in the punishment part, not in the first part. So I guess
Yes, but if you break the first part, for example, then even though R&E may be able to punish them, any senator can raise a censure. Even if R&E may punish them, the
Yeah.
student senate shall censure them.
Okay, I see, yeah.
It's the punishment part is always a bit extreme because if you the issue is she's not getting the things 36 hours in advance. It's not working.
Is she going to be posting them a lot closer to the meetings now? Realistically, is she going to be posting them?
Well, the goal was for them to be posted 24 hours in advance.
So what do you think it's? What do you
Realistically,
now if this goes?
what?
If we pass this, like realistically, what would it look like?
There would be no Instagram notice.
So there wouldn't be.
But there'd be no
Ar-
mandated Instagram.
Arguably
I know,
no.
so-
Or there
so-
would be, but it would just be later.
Do you think she would do it?
That's what I mean. If that's a question for INC.
But it's like if she does
Yeah,
it,
I
it's
agree.
if she does it with the next chair may not want to do
Yeah.
it ever.
I think this notice is important when we talk about accessibility and stuff, but I understand why this wants to happen. Okay, so we don't punish her. I don't know. I feel like we need to talk to more people. Or have Julie do it.
I think it shouldn't be punishable, but it should be something that
Is there
needs
a, is
to
there,
be done.
yeah,
Are very encouraged to.
highly encouraged. Would make me really happy.
It doesn't change anything.
It's really hard.
All right, there's more legislation, so I'm going to call us back to order at 6:37. 2 minutes of final privilege are waived. We're in line for any motions at this
I
time.
move to pass SSB 2024-1370 by unanimous consent.
Are there any objections?
Abject.
Yeah,
All right.
I move to table SSB 2024-2071. Right,
Are there any objections?
oh.
All right. So this is the first time this has happened in our committee. So someone can make a motion to pass or table by roll call vote. Or you can fail. That's actually another option. Or postpone indefinitely, but please don't postpone indefinitely.
I move to pass SSB 2024-1371 by every final roll call vote.
All right. May the clerk please take roll.
Oh, sure.
And then everyone vote once Senator Foster reads your name.
Oh, wait, how do I do this?
So read everyone's name that's present, like copy them, and then say how they vote. It's either yes or no.
1 second.
Yes would be to pass, no would be to not pass. But not to fail. It would just be to not pass.
Okay.
Okay.
1 second.
The first meeting back in like spring, it took a while for them to get.
It took a minute, dude.
Okay.
There were also 133 bills that day.
Okay.
That's crazy.
First day, I was
Aaron
like,
moved by.
I'm the last person to vote.
Oh, my bad. Hold on. You were the first one in. Okay, Adriana, Sela?
No.
Wait, just to clarify.
Yes to pass, no to not pass.
Okay, Matthew Bravo.
Yes.
Jackson Branson.
Yes.
1 second. Me. Yes. Okay, Joshua. How do you say your last name?
Yashik
Yashik.
and yes.
Megan McGuire.
Yes.
Jamie Weinberger. Yes. So the motion passes.
Yeah, I abstain, seeing as my vote does not affect the outcome. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In a vote of 6-1, that motion passes. SSB 2024-1371 passes. We are now in line for SSB 2024-1372.
Wait, sorry. Quick minutes question. How do I write that? Do I just say he called for a roll call vote on it?
And then everyone and how they voted.
I wrote
Yeah.
that down, but the roll call vote first.
Yes, roll call vote, and then who made the motion for the roll call vote, the roll call vote and how everyone voted, and then including my abstention, and then in a vote of X to X, that motion passes, fails, tables, whatever. Yeah. Okay. Sorry, right now I'm. Yeah, just so everyone's aware. Please don't submit bills in other colors, please. I will always fix it, and yep. Okay.
I think you say loud a bit.
Do I?
Oh, I see what they did there.
Yeah.
Not anymore. Check it again.
How do I write for
What?
how do I say who objects if there's no
Yeah,
objection?
it will. Yes, you do say who objects if there's a, so. Who objected to the motion to pass? Who objected to the motion to table? Cool.
Cool. Also, just a quick thing. Who called to pass the bill? Was it Rob or Rick?
I called to pass.
Yeah.
Or actually, I
No,
did.
He was
first.
by unanimous consent. He was by roll call.
Got it.
Okay, we're now in line for consideration of SSB 2024-1372. There is an author present.
Oh yeah. Give me 1 second. I'm ready.
What up? All good. Please state your name for the record.
Alex Weir.
Okay. I'm so sorry.
Just so good.
Oh, God.
Okay, I'm gonna speed you up.
Yeah.
5 minutes whenever you're ready.
Okay. Okay. Let me just fix the minutes later.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is a resolution from the Lavender Caucus, basically just recognizing Pride Month, and honoring, as the title says, honoring LGBTQ plus contributions to the University of Florida. To be completely honest, I have not read the whole thing, but basically, from what I have read, the main point of the resolution is to acknowledge big historical figures for LGBTQ history, just saying that the University of Florida Senate recognizes these things and supports their LGBTQ faculty and students. Yeah, it's just like a first step by Lavender Caucus for the month of June to, we love with gay people. Yeah. Sorry.
All right.
For lack of a better term. Anyway, I yield the rest of my time.
All right. Any questions? Seeing none. 5 minutes of debate. I think this should pass. It is now, the text is now black though, just so everyone is aware.
Oh, did we have to say that there was an amendment or no?
No, because Julia sent me it in black when I told her that technically the office cannot print anything in any other color.
You'll
So,
never accept another color font.
no, I'll actually fail it if you submit another color. I'm putting that on the record. If,
Diversity advised and no one.
What if
If-
it's gray?
huh?
What if it's gray?
If I don't notice that it's gray, then maybe.
If I make every letter a different color.
That'll be great. I'd love to fail that. Okay. 2 minutes of final privilege.
Sorry. Yeah, but you better pass this one. I get the rest of my time.
All right. Any motion at this time?
I move to pass SSB 2024-1372 by unanimous consent.
Are there any objections? Seeing none, the motion passes. Now in line for 1373. Presentation and Q&A are waived. We go straight into debate. 5 minutes beginning now. All right.
Wait. I've read this one. I'm just writing those. Which one is this? Oh, 1333.
Yeah.
It's striking the whole clause of the rules and procedures.
Yeah.
I think that we should table this bill just so that we can ask majority party leader Cipher what's going on here.
Yeah, I agree.
Basically, because I would want to know directly from her, and unfortunately she's the only person, authors and sponsors, so like there's no one else to like ask. So just based off like intent and clarifying intent, I think we should probably do it for right now.
So I can delve into a little bit of why she submitted this because I talked to her before this meeting. Basically, the current situation with replacements is kind of heinous. People don't get added to listservs because people are changing around so much. People joining, like Senator Tlaib joined on the last day of the spring session. So because of this rule, he can only serve for summer A, even though he never actually went to a spring meeting because he was a replacement. This was a big compromise that we had made in the spring. Essentially, Julia's contention is that it has not worked because there are so many issues with knowing who's on the roster, who's not on the roster, dealing with summer replacements, temporary and permanent replacements, sphere replacements, that overall we have overburdened pretty much everyone who deals in determining who's on the listserv, who's on the website, who's a senator, who's not a senator, how long people are senators for. That's her argument for why she submitted this, and I just feel like I could elaborate a little bit on that. Yeah.
So, are we in Q&A, by the way?
No debate.
Debate. There's no Q&A 'cause she's not present.
So, they're giving this whole clause away and then replacing it with a new vacancy?
No.
No.
So okay, before this clause was introduced, the vacancy replacement procedure is a person resigns or just a person resigns. They're out of Senate, replacement and agenda committee determines their replacement. It's a permanent replacement. Unless it's specifically for summer, which this doesn't affect. This is just for when people resign.
Okay. So it just defaults back to
It defaults to RNA. What this changed it to was the senator could pick their replacement for 2 legislative sessions, being 6 legislative sessions in the year. So there was before the fall election in the fall, after the fall election to winter break, after winter break to the spring election, after the spring election to the end of the spring semester, summer A, summer B. So essentially, a senator could serve for a maximum of 2 legislative sessions after the person who resigned appoints them. And then after those 2, it falls back to RNA, or the Senate body can extend the time of those who are replacing people. Fairly complicated procedure, but it was a compromise that was created, bipartisan compromise. Yeah, it's just, in her opinion, it's become too complicated and not realistic as a replacement procedure.
So
That's pretty much it.
The argument Senator Cipher is essentially making is it's become a revolving door, a giant loop cycle of
Not revolving door, just more of the amount of inconsistencies, like people submitting their resignations to the wrong people.
Okay.
People who are actually in Senate not being considered in Senate, so they don't have voting privileges, even though they are in Senate.
Okay.
How does that affect their status for the next term if they didn't get to vote in the last meeting of summer A or whatever?
And
So.
correct me if I'm wrong, but like a big thing about this is the fact that the purpose of RNA, like we select them because we trust their judgment, what they're gonna do. So like, that's like the
I understand everything you're speaking on. The only issue I have with this is that there is no like other thing being presented to kind of fill its spot. And it like in between this and the next, I get concerned for that vacancy.
How long has this been in place?
Concern for vacancy?
Like just basically concerned for like if we strike it, that we'd have no bill to then.
Well, the alternative is
It goes
RNA.
straight to RNA.
Oh, just okay.
Yeah. Yeah,
There's
I mean, keep
no-
in mind, RNA is what decided it for the majority of time before 6 weeks ago. I actually helped write this bill that created this replacement policy because I thought it would be more effective.
I think
There-
it's just coming at like a bad time with like the summer and like the fact that there's a lot of temporary replacements because of summer, and it might seem like the system is not seem because it is overburdened, but I think we should give it more time so we can see if it's more effective or not.
That is time.
All right.
Point of information.
Yes.
Just a clarification, it is semesters, not sessions.
No,
Or at least
that's incorrect.
in stipulations too.
That's wrong. This is old then.
You think this whole bill invalid?
Shoot, are you kidding me?
You think this whole bill invalid?
Wow.
Oops. Shut up. I'm glad I got them recorded too. Senator Monson isn't funny.
I second that.
Yeah, that's far out. It's simple. It's simple.
What the heck? Oh god. So this is just wrong. I really hope it's right in the R&P, because if it's not, then it was never actually submitted correctly in the first place. Why is Adobe being weird? What?
You could use mine if you want.
You'll accept your updated terms of use. Okay. Get the AI assistant out of here. Jesus. Okay, it's on page 47, whatever, I'm just gonna scroll. Okay.
It is proper on rules and procedure
It
on the
is.
website.
I mean, that one's updated, to be fair.
What?
So the RMP on the website's updated very regularly, unfortunately.
But it
Probably
is
in the
updated
most
now.
recent bill. If I have to go to the most recent SPIA version, if you want to compare it.
Because this has some of the things from the new one, but what?
It's, I'll see it.
Some of this is correct. Why is only some of this correct?
It's probably a slightly older version.
Okay, I don't know the procedure on this, but I believe we can infer that this is meant to strike the entirety of this rule. Unless, correct me if I'm wrong. Anyone disagree with that assumption? Because this is not the most updated version, but I think the intention of this is clear. And some of it is not up to date. I'm not sure what to do about it.
What is specifically not like matching?
It's just not up to date.
Can we just amend it to the current one and then strike it?
That's what
It's like unstrike it, amend it.
Yeah. Can we just amend it to the?
Well, the issue is we shouldn't have to amend this because she's not writing anything. She's striking
I know,
everything.
but if you want to pass it.
I think we just fail it and ask her to submit it again
Or
correctly.
table. But,
Yeah, this needs to
Yeah.
be tabled.
Table.
This doesn't make any sense.
Or amend it and strike it. Just get it.
Why are parts of it right? Like contingency.
Just FYI, Senate
We have
says
5
table
minutes.
it.
I know.
Yeah.
I
Let's table
know.
it. Let's table it.
Let's just say what?
Sure. Okay. That's fine.
literally, here right now. Okay, I move to table SSP 2024-1373 by unanimous.
There is an motion to table SSP 2024-1373 by unanimous consent. Are there any objections? Seeing none, the motion passes. All right. We're now in line for SSP 2024-1374. Okay. Debate. 5 minutes.
I support it.
Yeah, support it.
Yeah.
I agree.
It's pretty simple.
This is very simple. All right. Any more debate? Seeing none. Not allowed for any motions this time. Are there any motions?
I move to pass SSP 2024-1374 by unanimous consent.
All right. There's a motion to pass SSB 2024-1374 by unanimous consent. Are there any objections? Seeing none, that motion passes. Seeing as we have completed all of the committee's business, I adjourn this meeting at 6:54 p.m. on June 4th, 2024.